ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ ਐਂਡ ਗੁੱਡ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਟੂ ਆਲ। ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਹੈ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਦਾ? ਉਮੀਦ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਠੀਕ ਠਾਕ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ। ਤੇ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਮਿਊਨਿਸਪਲ ਚੋਣਾਂ ਦੀ। ਸਰੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਗਹਿਮਾ ਗਹਿਮੀ ਤਾਂ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਦਿਖ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਵੀ ਚੋਣ ਮੈਦਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਏ। ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਅਰ ਡਗ ਮਕੱਲਮ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬੜੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਇਲਜ਼ਾਮ ਜੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਸੀ, ਪਿਛਲੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਉਹ ਕੁਝ ਮਸਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ, ਤਾਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਚੋਣ ਸਰਗਰਮੀਆਂ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਤੇਜ਼ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ। ਸਰੀ ਦੀ ਸਿਆਸਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਦਲਾਅ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਮੇਅਰ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਸ ਵਾਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਨੇ, ਪਰ ਡਗ ਮਕੱਲਮ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ 5ਵੀਂ ਟਰਮ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਚੋਣ ਮੈਦਾਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇ। ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਡਗ ਮਕੱਲਮ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਰਿਗਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ। ਸੋ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਵਾਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਾਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਗੈਸਟ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੁਖਾਤਿਬ ਕਰਵਾ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਮੇਅਰ ਡਗ ਮਕੱਲਮ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਦ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਸ਼ੋ ਐਂਡ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ and good morning to all your viewers. Nice to be here.
So, Mr. McCallum, how is your poll campaign going?
Our campaign's going great. I've been in 6 of them in the past, 12, 15 years, and this is the best so far. Our city's booming right now. It's bursting at its seams. People want to come living here. When I started out, about 12 years, 15 years ago when I first ran, people were leaving Surrey, and now people are coming. About 1,500 every single month want to come to Surrey. Everywhere I go, people want to come and live, work, and enjoy our recreation facilities and so forth. So it's a very exciting time now.
How different are these elections from last ones for you?
I think these ones, with our growth, we have to deal with the growth that's coming in, the 1,500 new people every single month. We're a city of families now, and so we have to build a lot more infrastructure in our city. And in this campaign, we're going to build a lot more infrastructure as we move forward. We also have to build a lot more housing. Housing's a critical component for all aspects of housing, from low rent through the middle class type of housing. Again, because of our growth, we have to do that housing. The other thing we have to do also is watch out for the environment. We have to protect our environment, and we've done some things. We're the first in Canada to ban plastic bags, and then the rest of Canada followed through along with a lot of big corporations and so forth. And we have to continually do more to protect our environment and also encourage people out of their cars to protect also the environment and the climate.
Mr. McCallum, there are more candidates in the fray this time, and included with many more Punjabi, I can say experienced Punjabis. So are you ready?
Yeah, the more the merrier. I've always loved campaigns. I don't shy away from it. I think it's a time to go to the people. The people are the ones that make the decisions of who they want to have on council and who they want to have as mayor. And if you're doing a good job, they'll elect you again. If you don't, they won't elect you. So I welcome people to come. We've done a lot of things. I mean, the one thing that I'm very proud of is that last term we announced we were going to do some major projects like Skytrain all the way from our city centre to Langley. It's done. It's in the ground. We're building it. We also said we're going to change our whole police force. Never been done in Canada. 800 officers to be changed over. It's done. We have 261 officers on our streets. By the end of next year, the transition will be complete. So we've done it, what we promised the people. We promised 21 infrastructure projects. All 21 are done. We just announced yesterday Bear Creek Park. We're building a stadium there, brand new track, field, stands to hold about 1,200 people. The track and field people are really excited. They just can't wait to get onto and do it. And so and we're going to build a huge community center right here in Newton that we're in right now. $120 million community center. It's going to have an Olympic-size pool in it, covered pool. culture center, all sorts of gymnasiums and arts and crafts and so forth in it. So we're proud of the 21 projects, sports fields, soccer fields, and so forth. But we need to continue to build, and so we're going to build a lot more infrastructure if we get elected.
Mr. McCallum, have you accomplished everything that you had set out to do from last election?
Yes, we've done every single one. As I mentioned to you, two major infrastructure, Skytrain and the police, and 21 projects that we listed with the people. We done, and we're in the process of building those 21 projects. Every single one, what we promised the people, we delivered them.
Mayor McCallum, what were some of the big accomplishments that are close to your heart?
Well, one is the Skytrain. I think transportation is really important in Surrey. And so we promised to build the Skytrain. It's the first rapid transit improvement in Surrey in 30 years. And just think of the growth that's come in the past 30 years. But we promised it, and I got the ability, and our council got the ability to do it. So it's in construction right now. Fraser Highway's closed down. It'll take 3 or 4 years to build, but it'll go all the way from our city center all the way to Langley. It's a $4 billion project. The money's already here. It's secured. And their governments will be out the province will be out for quotes on it in a couple of months. So it's moving very fast. The government's moved it. We asked to do it quicker. They've moved it 2 years quicker than originally intended. So we're moving very, very quickly on that. And the other one is our police. We promised that we would change to a new Surrey police service. We've done that. It's changed now. We have over 250 officers that are out on our streets now, patrolling our streets. We're actually the second largest city police in the province right now, and we're still in transition. So we'll be finished that transition in about the end of next year, and at that time we will have our full Surrey police officers on the streets, and the public's really accepting it with them out there now. It's a new type of policing. It's a community type policing, and our officers don't get transferred. They often live in our city. They'll be out at the soccer fields with our residents at the same time when and they have their families here and so forth. And it's a community policing, and the concept, and we've been watched from all over the world. I get calls every week from Europe, from Asia, of how the police are coming. I've done a lot of talks internationally on our police. And basically what we're trying to do is get in front of the problem. In other words, we want to be proactive, solve the problem before someone has to pick up the phone and call emergency because something's happened. So we're out in front of the problems in our communities, and even so far it's working very well.
Could Skytrain along King George be possible?
Yeah, what we're going to do is if we get elected, I've promised to build it from our city center along King George right to Newton. That is one of our promises. And again, as I said, the last 4 years, what we promise we do. We will get that built. What I did is I moved it in the TransLink's priorities a few months ago through the board to give it the top priority in TransLink on rapid transit. And so it will be done very quickly. We'll go into a planning phase once we start early next year, and we'll do a planning, and then we got to do a business case, and then we got to do the funding and so forth. We will be to the province and the federal government looking for funding of it a month after we get elected. So It will be done. It's the largest bus route right now. The capacity that is at its limit as far as buses are concerned there. So it needs to get to Skytrain very quickly. And then Skytrain eventually, longer term, will go down to South Surrey.
Yeah, you have brought in UBC now. Any other institution that are interested in Surrey?
Yeah, we have a number of institutes. It's hard sometimes to tell everything that's happening because they like to keep it quiet until they announce it. But I will say to you that the other area of Surrey that's booming is economic activity. And big companies from around the world, big companies, are looking at moving to Surrey. The reason for it is we've been able, and I've worked very, very hard over my 5 terms that I've been in, to bring, when my first term, I brought Simon Fraser to our city center, and there's pictures of me digging the ground when we brought it there. Because what I've always believed, if we can bring the universities to our city center, then what it does is then brings jobs to our city, because the people that bring there and build the plants and jobs, they need to get their employees and they want them educated nowadays. And so if you have universities here, that provides their employees for the companies and so forth. So I brought Simon Fraser, and then I worked hard to bring UBC, and I was with the president of UBC a number of months ago, where we announced that they're going to bring a big campus to Surrey. They've bought the land already in our city center. They actually bought some more land just recently to expand it. So they're going to make a big campus there, and they're going to start construction very quickly. In fact, they have already moved one of their divisions into a building on a temporary basis already. So it's very exciting. They're going to be doing that. Also, Simon Fraser is looking at expanding, and I think you'll probably, hopefully, see some announcements from the province. I know you will, fairly soon on an expansion for Simon Fraser, which will be a super news story. And also KPU is looking at also expanding. So we have all 3 there, and so what that's done is companies now are looking. We have a very big international company that hopefully we'll be announcing very soon to be moving to Surrey, and they're moving because we have the universities there and so forth, because that's their employees and so forth. So it all goes together. Our city center, if anyone hasn't been there in the last few years, is booming. It's got about 12 high-rises in construction right now. It already had about 12. And we have about 30 or 40 high-rises that we want to start building on in the next few years. So it's going to get a lot bigger as we move forward.
Yeah. There are, Mr. McCallum, there are rumors that some giant international firms interested in to opening up in Surrey. Is that true?
Yes. Yes, there's some very big ones looking at opening up in Surrey. And we've been working, these big companies though, because they're so big, they don't like to announce it until all the different government levels are approving of it and so forth. So there's a number of them are going through that process. I think you probably will see some big announcements very soon.
Yeah. What would you say about Surrey RCMP and Surrey police transition issue?
I think the transition, as I said earlier, it's going to be finished. It's about halfway through right now, and it's going to be finished by the end of next year. We're working with the RCMP. We have officers now, 261, that are out with the RCMP. Sometimes they're by themselves. We're going to have our cars, our Surrey Police Service cars, come in the next week or so, and they'll be on our streets with their own cars. And so the transition will continue to move. Right now, we're moving over about 35 to 40 officers about every 6 weeks over to our thing. And we've had no problem at all getting officers literally from around the world, interesting, but certainly from locally and from Canada. We've had no shortage of officers wanting to join. In fact, we have far more than we can use. So that's been a good surprise. But I think it's because of the city of Surrey. People, it's a city of families, and it's vibrant right now, and people want to come to Surrey from all over Canada. And so when you're looking for a number of police officers, a number want to transfer out here. They want to bring their families out, and that's what's happening. And those officers will actually live in the community they're policing, which is a huge plus for Surrey, because they stay here and have their careers here. They bring their families up, and so they work very, very hard to make our community safe, because their own families are out playing soccer and so forth. So the police transition's going very well. And we will accelerate it probably even more to maybe finish it earlier than what it's scheduled to do right now, because we've been able to get the officers to do the replacement of the RCMP.
Some people asked, why can't you give people of Surrey a fair chance to decide on police transition?
Well, because we did that. 4 years ago, we
saw the surveys,
we went out to the public. The public wanted that change. They have wanted that change for a number of years. We said, if you elect us, then we would bring in the Surrey Police Service. That, to me, is the best referendum you ever can get. That's your voting. That's a democratic process. And they voted us in unanimously, our group. And on the first council meeting of the new term 4 years ago, a unanimous decision of council was to change over our police force. So the people spoke, the people voted us all in. We changed another slate that was in Surrey that didn't want the change, and wiped them out completely, except for one person. And that, to me, is a referendum from the people. It's the best referendum because it's voting. It's they vote to have their own police. So, and I can tell you, in the last 4 years, there has been tremendous support. And there is a small group that's very vocal, but they're putting out in the press wrong facts, wrong figures, completely, especially on finances. And they say it's not transparent, but the finances from the police board, which was formed, which is separate from council, every month gives out the exact figures of where they're at, and it's public knowledge. And so it's very transparent of where we're at, figure-wise and money-wise. We're actually below the budgets that we had put forward in this transition, at least at this stage in the transition. So we've had pretty good transparency on the change, and the people are the ones that made the decision to change the police force.
Mr. McCallum, traffic in Surrey is getting worse due to growth in population. How would you fix this problem?
Well, we're going to, if we get elected, or when we get elected, we're going to do a lot of changes in the roads. The roads have been a problem. We're going to do it on two bases. One, we're going to have Skytrain, of course, built on Fraser Highway. That's going to relieve a little bit along there. We're also going to build Skytrain from our city center down King George. That's going to relieve it. And then we're going to look at our roads. We're going to 4-lane 132nd all the way. We're going to 4-lane 128th at the north end. It's bottlenecked up there. We're going to punch through 72nd Avenue to the other side That will relieve a lot of the east-west clogging, especially around 88th. We're going to open 84th. We're going to pave it actually in a few weeks. And we have that one open also that we're working on right now. We're also going to 4-lane 152nd, which is in the center part of Surrey, which goes all the way down to South Surrey to relieve that road there. And we're going to also look at a lot of other roads around. As most people know out there, we're spending a lot of money even this year. King George is getting repaved now, which is really important, needed. But there's other roads too that we need to look at repaving and smooth. It was a very bad winter for roads all over Metro Vancouver because of the temperature. It was up and down and up and down. That's hard on all roads. And so we're going to certainly spend an awful lot of money on our roads throughout Surrey in the next year.
Mr. McCallum, building permit. I think from last many times the issue is taking a long time. Will this gap be reduced? What is the process?
Yeah, one of the big process that we're doing right now is reviewing all that, and we have to bring them down. They're way too long. So we have done that in the last month. We went out in Canada and we said to every city in Canada, big city, Surrey is 12th largest in Canada.
Yeah.
We asked them what was the fastest across Canada. So 2 cities popped out, Toronto and Calgary. 6 weeks guaranteed on a building permit. So we have that in place now. We brought that and we have that in place, which is a huge change. We also are speeding up our development permits and development variance permits. We're going to allow staff to issue them so they don't have to come to council. So we are going to speed up our development process a lot, but we're going to speed it up even further. We're going to review it because one of the commitments we're going to say to the public is we have to double our building next year.
Mr. Brad on the phone line. Mr. Brad, what do you want to ask to Mr. McCallum?
The first thing is good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Mr. Doug McCallum.
Yeah, good morning.
And my question, the first thing is Mr. Doug McCallum, I congratulations for you running again. And under 4 terms, you have lots of work. Everybody know about recreation department and the road. You already mentioned everything. But my concern, my question is different because all Canadian people, all parents support you. And my problem right now for my youth. My youth is right now is lots of big problem in my city of Surrey. So my question, how you are under your future, you have any youth program on the Bright Future?
Anyway,
because
youth program,
and schooling and recreation, everything worth it, otherwise you have good youth. Otherwise everything is worthless. Because right now it look like me and other parents, they have too much worry for my kid.
Yeah.
Because my kid is nobody knows back to kid on after midnight, otherwise shoot, so it's lots of problems. So just only explain how on the future you have a youth bright future. Only my this question. Thank you.
Mr. Brad, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Very good question.
Yeah,
on
exactly.
Youth. Our whole basis of everything that we do is based on our youth because we're.
And sorry, people are very concerned about the kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because we're a city of young families.
Yeah, of course.
And youth is very, very important. So. A couple things that we have done is that we have met with a lot of youth, by the way, around Surrey. Just in the last couple of weeks, we met with 30 youth just last week. We meet with youth all the time to understand their problems and so forth. So as I've mentioned, we brought university education facilities into Surrey for our youth, and to give them the opportunity. Both UBC, Simon Fraser, Quantum College are all expanding for the youth and so forth. The younger youth in families, we believe very strongly we have to have the best sports facilities. We've built pools for them. I just opened 3 soccer fields just in the last couple of weeks. So we got to build a lot more because we have a lot of youth coming in. But we have to keep our youth also busy, and it's really important that we develop those sports things. I can tell you that as part of what I do internationally, we are winning a whole bunch of sports teams and so forth, because we have the best facilities for sports literally in BC right now. We just won the world's men's fastball championship in the world, and we competed against 18 cities for it, and so it's coming here in 2 years. It will bring with it about a lot of youth with them, but it also will bring $5 to $10 million worth of economic activity to Surrey. So we're going to continue to promote sports for youth, education for youth, and then we also want youth to get involved and even with the government. So we're looking at, because we asked the youth what they would like, and a number of them said they would like to have a student type council. And so we're going to do that when we get elected, is to have one. When I was mayor before, we tried it for a little while. It worked well. And I think it's time now with the number of youth is to do it. It would operate like a council but it would sort of be a pattern of more to do with youth issues. And I think it's a very effective way to get the youth involved. The other thing is, even to go into our schools, we're going to bring in more police coordinators in our schools and in our schools to help the youth in some of the things. It's very, very important we keep them out of gangs and out of drugs and so forth. And we believe very strongly, and we've worked that way, and I believe very strongly that sports is certainly one way to do it. So youth is very, very, very important as a priority for us, and we will continue to put programs forward that will help the youth.
Mr. McCallum, what about the housing affordability as rents are soaring?
Well, on the housing end, it's a big part of our platform as we move forward. Housing right now, like for the homeless, let's start with the homeless, is we have built 6 homeless shelters. It's a big program. I'm a big believer. I worked with the homeless in the downtown east side for 6 years when I wasn't mayor, and I learned a lot of how you have to work with them. You have to provide the support for them. That's critical. You can't just put them in a place, and you got to bring in the support with them and so forth. So all our homeless shelters have full commercial kitchens in them. They have social workers that are working with them at the same time. They even have, in some cases, we have dentists come in to look at their teeth. And so these homeless shelters, we have 4 completed in the homeless living in them now. We opened a new one 2 weeks ago, so a 5th one right in our city center. We also built Canada's first multi-care homeless shelter. It's called Foxglove. It's one where it houses the homeless that have mental problems, drug problems, combined very critical care things, multiple problems that they're suffering. And they get put in a shelter in a room. They have a room to themselves, but they are watched 360 degrees, and that's the type of care they have to get them off of the addictions that and help them in mental health. We're very, very big believers that you got to provide support. This Foxglove is the first model in Canada, every city in Canada is looking at it right now. The province talks a lot about it, that it's a model for the future. We hope to build another one in the next year because we need to build both the supporting housing, but support for them. For the middle class, we feel that we need to do a lot more building. So we're going to double our building. We did this last year. Surrey had a record-breaking year this year in building right across Canada. We're in the top 3 as far as cities building in Canada, number 1 in BC. But we're going to double it next year because we know there's going to be a lot more people wanting to come in. We need to have housing for that. It's a very high priority, and that's why we're speeding up our processes so that we can produce it quicker. And then we're encouraging our developers to start building a lot more. That's already started. In our last council meeting, just to give you an example, we approved 12 high-rise towers in our city, brand new ones. We have a council meeting that's coming up on Monday. We have 40 building permits that we have to look at approving. 40. We've never had that in one council meeting in the last 4 years, that many in one council meeting. And so the developers are stepping up to provide the housing. We're going to make it quicker for them to get that housing out there so that we can provide that housing. The demand for it is there. Immigration's going to open up a little bit more. And so we'll have even more than 1,500 coming in. So we desperately need the housing. We're going to do some of our own also. In Newton, we have quite a bit of land where we're looking at building low-cost housing for people. And we might go in jointly with a partner to build some low-cost housing in the Newton area.
Mr. McCallum, how do you defend yourself in the light of public mischief charges against you?
Well, I'm not going to talk anything about that at this stage.
Yeah. So what about the other candidates? What do you think about the other candidates? It's a huge elections in the Surrey. So are you ready for that? What do you want to say about that?
Oh yeah, we're ready for it. We've been prepared for a year now on the campaign and looking what we have a huge, very strong back up group that works really hard for us. We have all of our computer systems up and running and so forth. We're the most prepared I've seen in my 5 terms here. We're going to be doing advertising. We're out door knocking right now with our whole group. We got a full slate. They're the best slate I've ever seen in Surrey, bar none. And people just need to look at their resumes on each of them and so forth to see how good they are. They all live in Surrey for a number of years. They all come from different parts of Surrey, which is interesting. We also have equal women and men on our team. And I've never seen the energy that they all bring to our team. We have some very young ones and we have some older ones like me, but it's a team that is we're running very good together. We have fun. You have to have fun in these campaigns. So we laugh a lot, but we're also very serious because we need to do a lot of things in the next 4 years. We've laid that out pretty well for what we're going to do in the next 4 years. If we get elected, Surrey's booming. People want to live here. We need to build that infrastructure, the housing, and the sports facilities and so forth. We made a lot of commitments. But, we don't forget about the ones that are here either. What I have always been a believer is that we go out to different play fields and so forth, or different parks, and we talk to the people. And in some of the parks, the older people said, we want picnic tables.
Yeah.
simple thing as picnic tables, or we want benches where we can sit. So we're doing a lot of those benches right now, and we have over the last few years, and we're going to accelerate the number of benches in our parks. And also walking paths are very, very important because we want people to exercise. We want a healthy community. And so we've already built 2 or 3 walking paths. I just opened a big walking path at the Scott Road Temple just a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to build probably 3 or 4 more very quickly, probably in the next year. Because we want people to get out and enjoy the outside. You don't want to be cooped up in your house all day, especially older people.
Yeah.
And so we need that exercise, and they love the walking paths. We built one at Bear Creek Park, and it's really used heavily. And,
yeah, Mr. McCallum, although you have enjoyed huge support from the South Asian community, and yet Sukh Dhaliwal and Jenny Sims are creating a lot of difficulties for you. What you have to say?
Well, I think anybody can run. It's up to that. I mean, I believe that if you feel you want to run, that's your decision. I don't agree with any MLA or any sitting MP switching in the middle of their term to try to run in a city and so forth. I think the people elect them. It's the same as me. If I gave up my mayor somehow and wanted to run somewhere, you know, the people don't like that. They elect you for a reason, and you should stay in that. If you want to run sometime in the future after you're not a MLA or so forth, that's fine.
Yeah, and some candidates that ran with you last election have formed their own party. Will that affect your chances of re-election?
No, I think they committed to the people to do what we're doing, and then they did the opposite. That, you know, that's what the people are going to look at them. You know, if you say one thing in an election and then you do the complete opposite once you get elected, that goes on your record. The people are going to know the type of person you are, and that's, you know, that's the type of person. I'm a firm believer that if you promise something, you do it. You get it done, and it's there. And so that's how we operate, and that's how we will continue to always operate.
And why your old teammates like Brenda and Jack Hundal abandoned you? How does this reflect on you?
Well, I think it doesn't reflect on me, it reflects on them. They promised the people what they would do if they got elected. They even voted for it in the very first council meeting, and then they switched. In other words, they just got in, and then they completely switched against both the police and the Skytrain. So, you know, that's the type of person they are. That's fine if that's how they want to be, but you know, they have to go out now. Both of them are running, Jack in another city.
Yeah.
You know, the people there are going to have to recognize that what they say sometimes isn't what they act on. And in Surrey in the past 4 years is a good example. But I'm a believer that anybody can run, and it's up to, in the end, it's up to the citizens to vote in who they want to run the city. I'm a very strong believer that we go out to the public in every 4 years and we say, here's what we've achieved, here's what we promised, here's what we achieved, here's what we will promise. After listening to them, this is what the residents want. Then we say, okay, that's what you want, that's what we're going to deliver. And then they can make the decision if they want us to be the ones to deliver what they want to see in the community. So to me, it's a simple process, and the person that makes those decisions are all the citizens of Surrey. And I love Surrey. Lived here all my life. Love everybody in Surrey, even the ones that maybe don't agree with me sometimes. I just love Surrey.
And Surrey people loves you.
Yeah. Well, it's a great city, and you know what? It's getting better. It's every day there's new things happening, and you see new things. And you know, what makes it so rich is the multicultural part of it. You know, people from all over the world, different cultures coming here, living together peacefully. And also we can learn from other cultures. I've learned so much from other cultures. And you know, it makes life a lot better if you listen, and you learn from each other, work together, play together, enjoy each other together. I live at Crescent Beach, and when I walk out on the beach, I go walking every day. I see all the different cultures out there and enjoying the beachfront and enjoying the beach. And that just, you know, it just makes me so happy to see that. And, you know, again, I just love Surrey. I brought my whole family up here in Surrey. Most of them are still here. They're school teachers and nurses. And they love Surrey. And so Surrey's just a great place.
And Mr. McCallum, how challenging is for you to fight against 4 other strong mayoral candidates?
Well, I welcome challenges. I have all my life. I mean, I was in business before for a very large company, and it was, you know, I was in sort of international marketing, which was always a challenge and so forth. I like challenges. I thrive on challenges. You know what? I believe very strongly that I'm reversing my age because I'm taking on challenges and using my mind and so forth. And I believe as you get older, people, if they exercise, eat healthy, and use your brain and your mind to be creative and try to develop new ways, new things. Technology's changed a lot. If you keep learning that way, then you can reverse your age and get younger instead of older.
So how far will Surrey change if you win again?
How far away?
Surrey. How far will Surrey change if you win?
Well, I think
again.
I think the people are changing Surrey right now out there. It's a very vibrant city. It's a very big city now. And you know, it's a city people want to live in because of the multicultural, because they want to live with other people and learn from other people. And I think you're going to see the city move very quickly, become even a lot bigger, but more vibrant, more sports, more business. You'll see big companies come and locate because they want their employees to live here. I think Surrey will be a very big, vibrant, exciting, a city, metropolitan city that people want to live in, work in, play in. And it's just going to be, I think Surrey's time is coming in the next 4 years.
Anything you want to say to Surrey people in the end?
Yeah, I do. I just want to thank all the people of Surrey for all the support that they have given me over the last many years, probably 12 years. You know, I've really enjoyed it. I work hard for them. But you know, it's the people I love, and I just want to thank them for that. I want to thank them for living in Surrey and enjoying and bringing up their families and working in Surrey and making our economy strong. And I really do appreciate all the people that have not just supported me, but have lived in Surrey. They can support other politicians, but the people are great. And in the end result, it builds a very strong, vibrant, exciting city, and that's what's happening right now in the city of Surrey.
So thank you so much, Mayor McCallum, and good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and to your viewers too.
Thank you. ਸੋ ਮੇਅਰ ਡਗ ਮੈਕਲਮ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਜ਼ਨ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਇੱਕ ਏਜੰਡਾ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਮੈਕਲਮ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਚੁਣੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਰੀ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਚੋਣ ਏਜੰਡਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ। ਕੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਸਰੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਬਦਲੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਏਗੀ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਡਗ ਮੈਕਲਮ ਨੂੰ ਚੁਣ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਤਵਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਸਰੀ ਦਾ ਮੇਅਰ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ। ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲੇਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਨਤੀਜੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਆਉਣਗੇ। ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ ਦਿਓ, ਕੱਲ ਫਿਰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਦ ਮਾਰਨਿੰਗ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।
ਸਾਡਾ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇਖਣ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜਨ ਲਈ ਸਬਸਕ੍ਰਾਈਬ ਕਰੋ ਚੈਨਲ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਤੇ ਨੋਟੀਫਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਲਈ ਬੈਲ ਆਈਕਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਬਟਨ ਤੇ ਕਲਿੱਕ ਕਰੋ।